All right, guys. Well, here I am back for another one. I'm doing a little something different today. Most of you guys, I think, you're now aware, that how much this Johnny Depp Amber Heard case has done for the public, right? I don't think it's just repairing Johnny Depp's reputation. It's also highlighting something that is brushed under the rug, laughed off, mocked. I don't know, bunch of other descriptive words about how men can be victims of in an abusive relationship with women. This is not shocking to anyone, in all honesty, if you think about it, but it's really nobody ever pays attention to it. So I thought, because we've had the week off and here it is Friday, and I might upload this tomorrow, by the way, so this could be for Saturday. But I thought that I would start maybe highlighting some other examples of fairly famous, depending on where you get your content or kind of what you watch. Some kind of famous other situations, relationships, people where this has happened that maybe you weren't aware of. And I thought was crazy, because I came to this part of the video, and it's where I cut off 12 minutes of it. It's fairly long. It's really well done. But right here at the May of 2021, so I thought May was funny. Well, not funny, but weird. It's strange. I don't know. Maybe in May, horns and tails grow. I don't know. Because if you'll remember, May was when the last famous incident happened between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So, yeah, that's just kind of strange. But here in May, they're going to talk about this is when finally this man's friends are the ones that came out and blew the whistle on this girl. And so again, see, it wasn't even the guy that did it. His friends had watched so much of it happen. They finally said something. And I can get into Johnny's friend, the Dan Schwab, comedian, that finally wrote an article about it right after it happened. And that's a pretty good one. I might do that next. But I'm going to just, play this video that tells this story of how these two are TikTok famous. Okay. This girl got like huge. I think they said in this documentary said she was getting like somewhere like 1 million followers every couple of weeks or something. She blew up. But so in the beginning, the first 12 minutes, basically just saying that, how she got famous. And then these people she grew up around, two of them were these twin boys. They were twins. And so one of them named is Jack. And so Jack started making appearances in her videos. He got pretty popular himself. And they were always doing these little TikTok skits together. Now, come on now. I'm middle-aged. Listen, I need to get on damn TikTok, quite honestly, because if you're trying to do online and streaming and shit, you don't utilize TikTok. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had. I don't have children. I kind of wish I had like a 20-year-old that could sit around and be my assistant. You know what I mean? I need an editor. Okay. I need somebody that's really good social media. And I think, I'd be all right, but whatever. Some things happen in time. Okay. So I'm going to start with this. I gave you the brief. What happens? This girl's name's Sienna, and his name is Jack. And we're going to start at this point when the first allegations come out. Remember, it's his friends. And like always, I'm going to tell you, I hate gatekeepers of information. Okay, I could let some stuff fly about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard stuff, where I've just tried, like the Andy files. I've asked politely several people, hey, do you know how to get these Andy files? Where the link is? Nobody will tell me. Or like even asking for the witness list that was done. It's like, stop gatekeeping information. If it's meant to be shared, and it's about I'm all about the information getting out there. Share the effing links, you daggum heathens. Okay. Anyway, so this is done by Jay Aubrey. And like always, hit that subscribe button, the like button, because I'm watching his video and utilizing it. I can't stand when I watch somebody's video and that big ass damn thing's glowing red. I'm like, damn, at least sub to the channel. You're going to use the shit. Okay, so here we go.
2021.
A post from a friend of Jack Wright actually came out about Sienna May, and it involved a large amount of serious allegations.
On the 31st, Mason Rizzo, a friend of Jack since kindergarten, published the following statement to Twitter, reading, "I struggle with seeing a girl praised after telling my best friend to kill himself and assaulting him numerous times after he set boundaries and then repeatedly wonder why he doesn't like you back. She also has a history of verbally abusing people in high school and in LA. She prioritizes the growth of her platform rather than the positive message she represents herself as. Followers
sound familiar? I mean, who became ambassador of the ACLU after they had who helped them write the op-ed in the Washington Post against Johnny Depp? The ACLU, I've got a whole article pulled up, but just what the ACLU has become. You know what I mean? But again, so we see a pattern here, folks.
This should not be an excuse to get away with abusive behavior. You guys all deserve to know the truth about her. Now, this may not have gotten so much attention so fast had it not been retweeted by Jack's twin brother, adding, "This is why I couldn't just let it go and stay."
Now, just remember, okay, like I said, these are twins. So what happened to Jack? This is his twin James. And the girl that's was doing it is this Sienna May, okay?
Out of it, before retweeting another girl alleging Sienna was also known to body shame, despite the positive, uplifting stance she had taken online. This was obviously incredibly noteworthy for anyone on the outside, as these claims were being backed up by Jack's own brother, who belonged to the same social circle as Sienna for the past several years. These posts sparked a fire of online speculation, of which Sienna fanned the flames with her own response to the allegations immediately after they were made, taking to Instagram by writing, "Friends fight and relationships sometimes change, but allegations of a criminal act are not to be thrown around loosely. Making an untrue sexual assault claim is never okay. I'm beyond saddened by this situation. In order for us all to move forward, I will be taking this offline with Jack. Thank you to all who have reached out with love and concern." As you can imagine, this wasn't received as well as she may have hoped and was deleted soon after. In fact, you won't find any of these posts now if they've all been taken down. Mason clarifying that Sienna and Jack's families had come to the agreement that this would be settled offline and away from social media. Except we both know how the internet works. This was out in the open for good. By early June, Sienna had made what would become her first of many public responses on camera, in which she unequivocally denied.
Now, remember, she was going to take it offline. Now, again, remember the person that that in the audios we heard Amber Heard screaming at Johnny Depp and saying things like, "Oh, my reputation. How am I ever going to get my reputation back?" She's the one that went into the public eye. She's the one that publicly went to that police station, filed that TRO. This guy was across an ocean away from her. She was not in fear of her life from a man in another country, an ocean away. She did that so, "Oh my poor self, look at me." Yeah, I mean, come on. You're going to try to restraining order from somebody that's like 70 bazillion miles away from you and would have to fly in a plane to get over to even near your ass? Are you effing kidding me? And so, yeah, anyway, so I threw that in there because I think it's, they say they don't want attention. They say they don't want it in public. And then they're one of the people that keep making shit public.
Any and all allegations made by Mason and co-signed by James.
Jack never confirmed or denied it, which makes the situation even worse because he never denied it knowing that it's not true. The allegations were made in a tweet by Mason of sexual assault. Let me be clear one more time, I did not sexually assault Jack Wright.
Sienna goes on to say the two never had sex, which was never a part of the allegations, but I digress, and even claims those in her life are using her best qualities, i.e. the way she loves people, against her, to make her out to be something she is not.
It's so crazy to me how once a relationship or a friendship has ended, people will turn your very best qualities against you, which I know my very best qualities are the way I love. And that love and that passion is newly regarded as overwhelming. That passion is not.
My only problem, world, is that I'm too good. There's not a bucket big enough to hold all my love that I'm pouring on to everybody else. And they're attacking me for it. I mean, today I just rescued 73 little baby kittens and 12 duckies. Me, love.
now newly regarded as possessive or desperate. That is so frustrating to me. And after everything that I did for him and after all the love that I gave him, I feel so stupid. That's the only way I can explain it. I just feel stupid.
It's important to note that most of what she says here is completely unrelated from what Mason had alleged in his initial statement, instead using this opportunity as a way to clarify their relationship off camera, and even paint Jack to be a manipulator, as she claims.
It was real online, and then it was sometimes real offline, and sometimes it wasn't, which was so misleading.
She accuses him of being the manipulator. Projection, attention, projection. Can you come to the front desk, please?
And honestly just such a mental mind for me.
During the latter half of the video, Sienna makes the shockingly bold assertion that although she did not abuse Jack, someone else did.
I'm so disappointed in you and the people around you because they are letting you misplace your trauma onto me, and I'm so sorry that this happened to you. It's not my place to speak your story, and I will not discuss this any further, but it's not your place.
Now this is a new one. Okay. I mean, this is like it wasn't me. Wasn't me. You know what I mean? I know it happened to you, but listen, and I know who it was, but it wasn't me. I didn't do it. And I am so sorry I didn't say something earlier about this, makeup imaginary person. That wasn't me. Wasn't me. I didn't do it. Woo, but I can't believe she did it.
Place to allow false allegations to be spread about me when we both know that I was not the one who did this to you. I was there for you through the aftermath and all those depressive nights and the nights that you had no motivation, and I would go and I would clean your room and I would get you food and I would be there for you as a good friend because I cared about you so much. I'm so sorry that this happened to you, and I really hope you can get through this.
And that Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, I cannot believe you're tweeting about me after I got you that milkshake.
Doesn't name any names on account of it being not her story to tell, but still condemns Jack for allowing his friends to spread false allegations at her expense, before finally strikingly challenging Mason or anyone else to post the evidence of her abusing Jack, since she was so sure it didn't exist. And well, that's the part that really didn't age the best.
Whatever evidence you think you have, either post it or send it to me and I'll post it, because you have nothing.
And I'm sorry, oh hell, but the first thing that came to my mind is that Brian fella incredibly average. Like, I can see Amber Heard being like, you ain't got shit. And then upload YouTube, Twitter. Go tell him, Johnny. Tell him, Johnny Depp. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, all right, bitch, you want to see the evidence? Upload.
This video is from November 30th, 2020.
On June 3rd of 2021, this short video taken in November was posted by another friend of Jack's, seemingly depicting Sienna.
See, his friends are coming out and doing this, or the ones exposing it. They're so uncomfortable by it because men have been, it's like, all I've heard is people dog men, talk about toxic masculinity, all this other shit. Are you kidding me? Like men know that they'll be so dismissed if they talk about stuff like this. They don't even talk about it. Like, look, this dude just gets up. Like, he's so uncomfortable, he gets up to get away from it. And his friends are the ones having to tell people about it. If this Johnny Depp case does nothing, nothing else, like I said before, I hope that men start coming out of the damn woodwork, start sharing their stories about their own Amber turds. Because this happens all the time.
Straddling an unconscious Jack Wright, groping him and kissing him on the lips while looking passed out. The guy next to him who posted the video got up after feeling uncomfortable, but went back to pull Sienna off once he realized what was happening, posting this alongside the clip in an effort to further support the claim that Jack was in fact asleep, or at the very least incapable of consent during that time. Being definitive proof of assault in the eyes of some, this video remains a heavy point of contention today, as Sienna has since made the claim many times over that he was not unconscious and completely consenting as it happened, as she outlined in yet another statement not long after, something Jack himself would go on to dispute.
The Hawaii incident happened.
Okay, this is your Jack boy. This is, I feel I kind of find it strange too that this is the first one we'll cover, and I think it's, Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow, and this poor kid's name is Jack. It's just the irony here.
And where I was passed out unconscious almost like the whole night. She got on top of me, took advantage of me, groped me. I'm so glad they pulled her off of me, and honestly, I'm glad that they have evidence. After Sienna found out about the video, she said sorry. She said if this got out, she would be done, that it's horrible, and she's working on boundaries.
Jack was
If this got out, I'm sorry, if this got out, I'd be done. So again, another woman worried about her reputation and not really what they've so much as what they've done to someone. She about to make this point, bring it home. Oh, she about to dunk the basket with this little spill.
a victim of sexual assault, but not by me. And I am a victim of continual attempts to cancel me and slander my name with false claims.
Does that remind you of anyone? And I'm the victim.
By me. And I am a victim of continual attempts to cancel me and slander my name with false claims. It will not work. I'm here to clear things up and provide all sides of the story because I have been labeled as a sexual assault.
And think about what she said there. See, people don't pick up on this little shit. I'm here to provide all sides of the story. Remember when the media would come out, how I can't remember when it was, and they try to tell everybody, you can't look at these emails. It's illegal. The only people that can look at these emails is us, the media. Like, okay.
Clear things up and provide all sides of the story because I have been labeled as a sexual assaulter.
Right out of the gate, Sienna's demeanor is stronger and more aggressive than before. She comes off less concerned for her friend who she just previously said was sexually abused, and more frustrated with how the situation has affected her, reiterating a desire to take things offline.
I have tried multiple times to take this offline, and I am continually undermined by Jack and his inner circle. Jack has not spoken on the situation, and his friends keep dropping.
She's continually trying to take it offline as she's sitting here for a video.
Cryptic and non-specific information.
Using Jack's silence as a means to absolve her of the allegations made by his friends, and outright accusing those closest to Jack, including his own twin, of twisting the narrative against her, using air quotes when referencing the video in question.
The initial tweets, as well as the video that I am talking about right now, have been taken down.
She then goes on to dig up older clips of them being very touchy-feely with each other in the past, as if these would have anything to do with the allegations being made. Just because he may have consented in these examples on camera absolutely does not mean he was even in a sober enough state to consent in the video she's so willing to write off with air quotes.
As you can see here and anywhere online, Jack and I were very touchy-feely with our friendship. This is the way that we interacted with each other, and it is in any video you go watch of us. Please, and I encourage you to go watch my recent YouTube videos featuring Jack, our recent TikToks. You will see that this behavior was normal. Online, we touched each other, kissed each other.
That's how she's trying to normalize it. And we saw in the video before, the kid was passed out on the couch. He wasn't conscious. And she climbs on top of him, and then the friend says as he goes over there to get her off, she sees where her hand is, and her hand ain't resting on his shoulder, if you know what I'm saying. And then she kind of dismisses the way of like, that's okay to do to someone. That's not okay to do to anyone, not even your damn spouse.
Each other, we were playful. Jack kissed me and I kissed him. Within the boundaries of our relationship, this was normal.
Definitely not doing much to sway people in her favor. But let's look at the video itself.
Whatever their relationship was at the time, obviously this was not right. So I went back and took Sienna off of Jack. Not to mention when I got closer, I noticed her right hand inappropriately touching his crotch. She was shocked that I pulled her off, and she kept trying to justify what she had just done. I talked to James and Jack the next day about the situation that happened that night. And James said that happens all the time.
The way that Jack's friend narrated this video, I admit, looks so weird and looks just like real. But like my last video where I showed comments that were resurfacing and then provided a backstory, not everything is how you see on social media.
Sienna attempts to defend herself by first going after the video's presentation, claiming it was edited maliciously to make it seem more nefarious than what it really was.
The clip of me kissing Jack, he is also kissing me. I was looking at him face to face. He was kissing me back. Lachlan claims that he was unconscious. If he was unconscious, why did his arm move when you got up? And also, why was he kissing me back?
She asserts that he was fully awake and kissing her back.
Now, this is the people that you should be worried about. When the person leans forward to get up, what happens to the hand resting on their shoulder? It doesn't detach from the body and go with the person. It slides off. Holy.
pointing to the way Jack's arm moves when his friend gets up from the couch. Now, maybe Sienna isn't sure how gravity works, but I think it's pretty clear to me, at least, which I have to say so I don't get sued, that his arm only moved because the guy stood up and disrupted the way he was positioned. He doesn't move beyond that. And yes, it's a short clip. There's not a whole lot to go off, as Sienna is eager to point out for herself.
You claim in your video that you hear kissing noises.
I started hearing kissing noises and I peeked over my shoulder and it was exactly that.
We were kissing. Lachlan also claims that my hand is on Jack's crotch. While it is not, my hand is very visibly on Jack's thigh, upper thigh.
Okay, one, it is not very visible at all. I'm not showing the clip uncensored because it makes me uncomfortable, but her hand is behind her leg, so it's kind of hard to tell whether it's on his crotch or his thigh. But regardless, touching him while he's unconscious is still bad. And two, you can still make kissing noises even if the other person isn't actively kissing you back. It's clear Sienna doesn't have the strongest defense team if her rebuttal is, well, this.
If Jack was being sexually assaulted in this moment, James, why did you record it? James, you are Jack's twin brother, and I know that if my brother saw me being taken advantage of, he would.
Now listen to what she's about to say right here. As a female, she's about to make the statement that they should have drug her off her and beat her ass, because that would have ended well for the men in the room.
And I know that if my brother saw me being taken advantage of, he would pick up the person on top of me and beat them to shit, not film it.
But I mean, that would be a horrible look. They're trying to incriminate you, not themselves. To me, Jack.
Yeah, imagine the police showing up with 3 dudes and 1 chick, and the chicks had the hell beat out of her, and the guys were like, well, she was sexually assaulting the passed out guy. That's the problem. That's why I'm pointing this video out. That's the problem. Is the guys would have been immediately assumed to be the perpetrators there, not the other way around. Ask some dude. If you don't believe me, ask some guys. Stop this video, call your friends, and ask your guy friends.
Jack's twin James took this video for his brother's own good. She then goes on to rapid fire a bunch of points that again really don't matter as far as what she's being accused of.
This was also in November when we had first just started to kind of ease our way into relationship, not relationship, defined, and you were introducing me as your girl. Having your friend take a 10-second clip out of context of this entire night is not sexual assault.
She's confused why this is even an issue at all, since James and Jack had never brought it up to her privately. This would not age the finest either, in the wake of Jack's formal statement published to his YouTube channel about half a year later, where he argues he had brought this kind of behavior up with her multiple times.
First of all, if they were so uncomfortable, why didn't they say anything to me?
The next morning, where she was like, I'm so sorry for doing that. I don't know what went through my head. I had to clarify again that I didn't like her that way. We were just friends. She said sorry, that was it. After that, these type of things kept happening.
This is also a TikTok that was made December 1st, not even 24 hours after the said sexual assault.
Good morning. I just wanted to say that
Copyrighted music.
Do you think Jack would have made this video with me if he felt uncomfortable from the night before?
The entire goal of this second statement is to make herself out to be the victim of Jack's friends intentionally manipulating the situation against her. But for what reason? As far as I'm concerned, no one really had anything to gain from this being public. These are the biggest influencers on TikTok, all with promising careers ahead. Making up false allegations to smear one of the most popular members in their group would not be doing themselves any favors unless this is real. Sienna issued cease and desist letters regardless though, and went on to take a month-long break from social media. The situation died down once again, at least before Sienna made her long-awaited and critically acclaimed resurgence.
She comes back and posts this absolutely insane video.
An interpretive dance video for an essay.
I had to take a whole month off social media, but now I'm back. You know, with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance.
Yeah!
I'm sorry, but I love Charlie. I can go back to show that. If you don't know who Moist Critical is, it's the dude who just
Take a whole month off social media, but now I'm
it's not that dude.
back. You know, with the Mickey
It's
Mouse
this guy. Oh my god, he's so funny. He's so funny.
Clubhouse dance?
Yo! What is this, dude? How deaf and stupid do you have to be to dance to a song where the lyrics talk about kissing 100 guys when you have been accused of kissing your boyfriend when he was unconscious, which is assault?
I've tried writing this part of the video so many times, and I just still am truly speechless.
I decided to take a month off of social media due to the negativity surrounding my platform. It was honestly one of the most difficult times in my life for many reasons. But through struggle, I found clarity within myself.
I don't have anything to add. This is literally the worst response to any controversy I have ever seen. Somehow, Sienna May's PR team figured that shooting a highly stylized interpretive dance to a song which contains the lyrics, "I did nothing wrong, I'm young," would be an appropriate response to SA allegations. God, I'd love to be a fly on a wall during that meeting. It's like getting up in the middle of your trial and doing the Squidward dance. I mean, if you go to Google tone deaf right now, a link to her video pops up. For God's sake, she starts off with a close-up shot of her push to start.
Even if I can only inspire one person.
And I think the thing to also pay attention to is look how this video is put together. It looks like it's professionally shot. You know, I mean, talk about being tone deaf.
I will have done what I was put on this earth to do.
It's so shallow and doesn't even mention the reason she left social media in the first place. If she truly cared for Jack like she keeps claiming, this video would at the very least mention him instead of only making it about her. Sienna lists
Silly TikTok dances
and
showing unedited photos of myself
as ways she inspires people, before launching into the worst dance moves a human being is capable of. Needless to say, this video convinced everyone she was innocent, Netflix put her back on the show, she gained over 4 million followers overnight, and everyone clapped. The reception was just what you'd expect, which is why she deleted it almost immediately after it came out. Although I guess she forgot to take it down from Instagram. Regardless, it was still liked by over 200,000 people, and starting in July, Sienna went back to posting as normal, literally, like nothing happened. In fact, she even continued to grow in popularity during this time too, getting more brand deals, probably because she thanked them in the apology.
Now imagine gender reverse here. Imagine a man had been accused of all this. Imagine a video had been produced from these girls. Well, this is my friend. Look what happened to her. She was passing on the couch. This guy climbs on top of her, starts groping her and kissing her and stuff. She's not even conscious. What do you think would happen to his career? Think about that.
Video.
And more than anything, I'm beyond thankful for my family, friends, partnerships, and supporters.
It's like she's banking on the support from the side of her audience who doesn't know about the allegations, or at least not the full extent of them. Either these people had never gotten the full picture, or didn't believe the allegations, clinging on to their favorite comfort creator and tuning out all the negativity. Because that's all it really was, right? An elaborate plot by Jack's friends to expose Sienna for something she didn't do, and sink her career out of frivolous spite. A warped reality Sienna peddled to her followers up until January 2022, when Jack Wright broke his silence.
I wanted to share.
And thank God this guy coming out and just saying, okay, here's what happened. People actually listened. Look at his face. You know the difference how it's like your gut, you get that gut feeling of people when they're telling you the truth and when other people are full of shit. We all have it in there. You know, I think some people have put that bitch into hibernation. But, you know, I'm going to ask you to go wake that sucker up and drag him out of the cave. Because we all have the ability to smell the bullshit. And this dude's face right now does not scream. He is filling us full of shit. It screams. He feels like he has to come and say something at this point. And he's already looks like he's got tears forming in his eyes, which is more than fucking Amber Heard can do.
What I went through with Sienna and my side of the story.
On the 20th of January this year, almost 8 months since the allegations first came out, Jack Wright released his own official video response addressing Sienna directly, in a statement titled, "What Sienna May Did to Me."
This all started when my friend came out with a tweet because he was worried about me. He actually witnessed a bunch of times what Sienna did to me.
Speaking on his experiences with Sienna, explaining how difficult it's been to open up, and that he didn't want his response video to be as aggressive as Sienna's. Jack also confirms here that they were always clearly just friends, and far from anything relationship-wise off camera.
I just want to clarify that we both knew that we were just friends. She was seeing and talking to other guys in LA all the time, and I just thought of her as a good friend. We were making videos, we were making dance trends, we had fun. It was just strictly friends, and we both knew that.
But this is where I want to give a quick trigger warning. To anyone who may be put off by brief mentions of abuse, Jack does go a bit further into detail here, and even makes some new allegations that hadn't been brought up by his friends. So feel free to skip to the timecode on screen if you aren't comfortable with such mentions.
So the first incident where Sienna...
Okay, I don't even know how to tell you how to do that because, you know, this is my video on that video. But if you want to skip ahead, just, you know, slide the thing down. You know, I don't know what they... hopefully my audience is, you know, I don't know, you know, do what you gotta do.
Cross boundaries. It was after filming, we went into the room, I was just chilling on my phone on the bed, and she got naked, like completely naked, nothing on, and straddled me when I was literally just chilling on the bed. But I didn't know what to do in like the situation because it was just like random and weird. Quickly told her, Sienna, get off, we're just friends, stop. The next morning, where she was like, I'm so sorry for doing that. That was, I don't.
Like, I feel like I need to imagine if it was a guy. A chick is laying on the bed, messing with her phone, and a dude comes in the room, gets totally naked, then climbs on top of her. What do you think's gonna happen to that guy?
I don't know what went through my head. I had to clarify again that I didn't like her that way. We were just friends. She said sorry, that was it.
But that wasn't the end of it. Jack alludes to these incidents persisting, leading up to the video we all saw.
These type of things kept happening. She would do something and I would forgive her, and she said it wouldn't happen again, and we would go on and making fun videos. After all those type of things kept on happening, the Hawaii incident happened.
Jack can confirm that he was in fact passed out, unconscious, almost the whole night, and that...
Well, look at him. I mean, you don't have to be a freaking PhD in narcolepsy to understand this kid's not conscious.
Sienna had taken advantage of him in his most vulnerable state. He's appreciative of his friends for stepping in, and that they captured what little evidence there was. Because after that occurred, the two would get into another dispute at a party, where she got jealous and mad that he was flirting with girls, even though he made it clear he wanted nothing romantic with her. She allegedly pulled him into a room, screamed at him, then tried to make out with him before he told her to leave.
And come on, women. I mean, that's what I need you. Women that get angry and scream and cuss you out, then turn around, try and love bomb you to death, be like, but I love you, you know, just stay here. You mother effer. Oh, but you know, I just can't live with that. Come on now. Come on.
Friends escorted her out of the party since she had also been causing additional problems that night, but resorted to jumping and rolling out of a moving vehicle to get back to Jack, who was hiding from Sienna in the house. According to him, her parents had to come get her.
So two friends wanted to take her home, and while the car was moving, she jumped out of the car, rolled, and said, I have to get back to Jack. So I ran back to the house, and I was like hiding from her, and I was just waiting for her parents to finally pick her up. Looking back now, I don't know why I stayed friends with her, stayed around her. I truly thought she was gonna change for some reason. I feel like she'd say she had so much love for me and that she truly cared for me, and then the next night she would do something like that.
It got to a point that Sienna was fully aware of Jack's boundaries, yet continued to cross them, ranting to friends that Jack didn't like her back, despite the fact that she turned around to pursue other guys. All of this is alleged, I have to say. But things get even more intense when Jack alleges Sienna would break into his house in the middle of the night.
She would constantly come to my house.
Now, sorry, reverse the roles. Imagine this was a guy showing up to a girl's house and breaking it, just reverse the genders.
Would break into his house in the middle of the night.
She would constantly come to my house, remember my door codes. It got to the point where I had to like start screaming at her to like get out of my house because I was so sick of her just like breaking into my house. I would wake up and see her car just sitting outside at like 2 in the morning. She would break into my house, and when I was sound asleep, she'd come into my room, and I'd wake up to her hand in my pants. And it wasn't like the only time it happened too. I was so like used to it. I was so used to it that I don't know, it's...
I'm just going to point out something here, body language wise. No expert. You know, I'm just human. It's these things that are obvious. If you notice, before his hands were up here, now look where his hands are. They're kind of like brought into himself, like self-hugging himself, like, you know, comforting himself in a way. I thought that was interesting enough to point out. Like, it, you know, when you're nervous or you're, you know what I mean, you try to soothe yourself. He's got, you know, it's just, this kid's believable.
It was just like normal for me that I didn't think there was such like a problem at all. Like, part of me wants to blame myself for being nice and sticking around after so many times. But now I realize that I was stuck in this like manipulative cycle of her acting like she extremely cared about me, and then that night she would do stuff to me, and it was just so normal for me. I got used to it.
Painting a horrific picture of waking up in the middle of...
Remember when Johnny Depp was on the stand and he was like, they played that audio clip and he was like, that's just that nagging and, you know, and screeching. He said, it's just something I got used to hearing.
The night, with Sienna in his room, her hand down his pants. Occurrences that were so frequent, he saw them as normal. There was one time he describes in which Sienna had broken in once again during the middle of the night and was kicked out of his room after touching his crotch area and attempting to make out with him. He finally locked her out of the room and fell asleep on the floor, in his own words.
Same old, same old. I say.
Remember somebody used to run to the bathroom and lock themselves in it, try and get some peace?
Sienna.
And these two aren't even dating. These two were just like TikTok trending friends. Imagine if he was married to her.
Stop, Sienna, stop, go back to the couch, Sienna, stop. So I like locked the door, she was trying to get in, and I literally just slept on the floor, and she finally went to bed. It's like very awkward the next morning, and she'll say sorry, and I'm like, Sienna, this happens so many times, like, you do not respect boundaries. You just, oh my God.
Her family even planning their own trip to Hawaii around the dates they knew Jack's family would be there at his father's beach house. When Sienna went back home before Jack, he didn't even want to go because he knew she'd find a way to be around him. To Jack, it felt like being caught in an endless cycle of Sienna always doing whatever she could to ignore boundaries and take advantage of him. This is the part where things went public thanks to Mason's tweet. Once the allegations were out there, Jack was met with similar testimonies from guys who had allegedly had their own experiences with Sienna in LA. Jack ended his own testimony by saying the following.
We don't want her to hurt.
But then all of a sudden everybody else kind of started coming out of the woodwork, and there was a history there that had happened before, ever heard. Telling you again, I just want to keep highlighting the similarities that men face in these situations that they usually don't ever talk about.
Anybody else. You don't want anyone to go through that experience. I don't think I'll ever be the same person I was before Sienna. I don't know if she'll ever be sorry. I don't know if she'll ever learn from what she did, or she'll ever...
This is natural forming tears. When you are trying to like look forward, your eyes are still open and tears are coming to your eyes. He's not wincing his eyes and trying to make them come and perturbed. I mean, this is, you know, when you feel it welling up in you.
Admit to what she did. But I just don't want her to do this to other people.
Just days later, Sienna then put out another statement, definitely drafted by a legal team, which I will not be reading in full because it's just too long, but I want to give you the highlights. Unfortunately, Jack Wright continues his campaign to slander Sienna Mae Gomez with further false accusations. His latest falsehoods in a highly edited video show that once again Jack is making a calculated action to hinder, hurt, and harm not only Sienna's reputation and livelihood, but her as an individual human being as well. Sienna unequivocally denies these accusations, as written in the statement. Other than spreading falsehoods about Sienna online, Jack has taken no action. There has been no police investigation, not even a police report to our knowledge. No charges, no private lawsuit, and no contact between Sienna.
And you know what? I hope that changes. What I hope changes, because again, this Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial is getting attention worldwide, not just here in America, but worldwide. I hope that shit does change. I hope that men do feel like they're not less than, they're not wussies, they're not cowards, they're not every other expletive name that you want to call someone to make them feel beneath you. I hope that men do finally find their voices to be able to go to the police and say, this psychopath is beating the shit out of me. You know what I mean? I need to file a report so I could have something on record in case she does what women like that do, which is try to reverse Uno that shit and accuse me of putting my hands on her because I want out of the relationship. Because a lot of the times what happens is that someone that does this to a man, they're so insecure with themselves and they're so scared of being alone that they'll do and say and accuse someone of whatever they think they need to do to make them feel trapped, to make them feel like if they don't stay with this tornado of a human being, then they'll lose everything. They'll be accused of everything. Something's got to change. Again, I hope that this trial doesn't just restore Johnny Depp's name and highlight who was the bad person in that relationship, which I think we all know now. I hope it, like a ripple effect, can change how society views men that are in these relationships.
Sienna and Jack, or their respective legal teams, in many months. It was always Sienna's desire and intention to handle this privately versus in the court of public opinion, which I just have to stop, doesn't make sense because of the sheer amount of statements she's made. But regardless, she would never want to sensationalize or degrade the seriousness of the situation. Sadly, Jack's blatant disregard for the truth has left us with no choice but to address these claims publicly. They go on to deny his claims that she broke into his house, and saying that Jack and his collaborators have attempted to utilize blatant slut-shaming culture to justify their fictitious claims and have effectively victimized a successful woman of color in a way that regrettably we have seen many times.
And again, remember what Amber Heard did whenever she was arrested back, and I could do a whole video on that when she was married to that woman, and then she tried to accuse the arresting officer of being homophobic and saying that he was in a position of power and all this other shit. Look at these trigger words in here: blatant slut shaming, victimize a successful woman of color. All these trigger words that I'm going to blame you daggum younger generation. You're flipping 15 to, I don't even know. Hell, I've seen 40-year-olds do this shit. Okay, whatever. You group of damn people out there that have used these inflammatory words to try and justify your shitty behavior, and then if somebody calls you out on it, all of a sudden they're racist or homophobe or whatever phobe, and you're like, no, you're just a shitty damn person. Stop throwing out the race card. Stop throwing out your sexuality or whatever else you want to throw out to try and justify that, or try and excuse your behavior and try to label the other person as a bad person because they're bringing attention that you're a shitty person. I don't care what color your skin is, who you're married to. I don't give a damn about where you fucking live or what kind of car you drive. If you're a shitty human being, you better damn well be able to be prepared to be called a shitty human being. And if you throw out these, buzzwords as a way to try and deflect people doing that to you, then that just makes you even shittier. And I'm telling you, as a society, we better put a stop to this bullshit because it's being used everywhere from politics to this kind of shit, where people are like, well, they just do, it's just because I'm this or I'm that, or no, you're an asshole.
before, all in an effort to use her suffering as a catalyst for their own personal gain, which is just an amazing final sentence. With Jack then coming out with his own counter-response to Sienna's response, reiterating that every word in his video is still the truth and that he hopes she continues to get the help she needs so this never happens again. From there, things went quiet on Sienna's end. She stopped being active for the first time since June, but Sienna wouldn't be gone forever. In fact, it wasn't long before she reared her head yet again, responding to the heavy claims on a Barstool podcast. Can't make this up. On February 23rd, 2022, Sienna May returned to the public eye with an appearance on the BFFs podcast hosted by Dave Portnoy, the CEO of Barstool Sports, who you may remember as a proud investor of the infamous crypto coin SafeMoon, which turned out to be a worthless pyramid scheme. Or you may recall the time he threatened to fire and sue his employees on the spot for wanting to unionize. Or you may know his abundant legal history. Whatever the case may be, Dave Portnoy, alongside his co-hosts who are half his age, brought Sienna back on the program after having her on just a year prior for an episode that definitely aged well. In this episode, Sienna doesn't even appear until the 30-minute mark.
See, that's where I'm gonna I don't do this kind of stuff. Like, see how he kind of tried to attack Dave Portnoy and like say because of Bitcoin or whatever and blah 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 blah. I don't give a shit. Like what that got people. Listen, people bring people on their podcast for views. Okay. I mean, people know what makes this shit turn on this platform. Controversy, like I've mentioned in other videos, it's like watching a car wreck, okay? Why do you think we're all pissed off a half mile down the damn interstate because we're going 7 miles an hour? It's because all the rubbernecking going on a half a mile in front of us where somebody has had a car accident and everybody's trying to see if they can see somebody get drug out of the car and put on a stretcher, okay? That's what that is. Everybody wants to see the disaster. So people are going to bring somebody on. If they can get controversy on there to have conversations about this and that, they're going to do it. So I'm not going to play that game of like, okay, he let her on, blah, 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 blah. Of course he is. This was a big deal. These were massive TikTok personalities. He knows he's going to get some views on this interview. Everybody does it. I ain't going to do that shit.
Everything before that is just
J. Cole, Travis Scott, Harriet Tubman.
Let me get a
Tubman.
replay
Hey,
of
I don't
Harriet
even
Tubman.
see what's wrong with Harriet Tubman or Tubman.
You
or
said
whatever the
Harriet
hell it was.
Tubman.
What's the name? Tubman?
Yes.
Eventually, introduced alongside her lawyer and so-called forensic expert, Sienna already starts off on a bizarre note, as Dave is quick to point out at the beginning of the interview.
I came in and I was like, holy shit, am I in the right Zoom room?
Yeah.
What is going on?
So is this your choice or their choice to be like, we want to be on the call with you?
It's a little intimidating, I feel you, but no, I want to talk about my emotional state, and like I feel like what I want to touch on is like how I'm doing and like the emotional questions that I know you guys are gonna ask. But as for like the legal and like the so what's going on questions, that's for them to answer, because like I don't want to. I don't want to butcher anything. This is all like now it's serious, you know, like social media.
So okay, yeah. So just ignore the question altogether then.
There has been absolutely nothing by way of an investigation or any kind of legal proceeding filed. Honestly, at the end of the day, this is all just a video online.
Sienna's wonderful, amazing, and very likable lawyer comes out of the gate by clarifying at the beginning that there is no current legal proceeding going on. So it almost makes you wonder why there's even a lawyer present then. In fact, I do have to give props to Dave in this.
See, exactly. And you can say whatever you want to say about old Dave Portman. I don't know a whole lot about him. I know that Barstool Sports went through maybe I can do a video on that, because I remember them getting mentioned where they were attacked several years ago because he did this sports show, and then everybody tried to come down on them and say they were misogynistic and all this other shit. Listen, Jimmy Kimmel did the fucking Man Show, okay, where he had women jumping around practically naked on trampolines, or had them like grabbing people's junk and stuff, okay, and like spare me your thin-skinned inability to change the channel. If you don't like something, there's an off button. If we as a society, especially again, I'm from America, I'm going to talk to America. If here in America, if you don't have thick enough skin to change the channel instead of you demanding someone be canceled or something be removed, then you need to check yourself in the mirror because there's something wrong with you. Change the damn channel. Stop trying to ruin everybody's life because you don't like what they produce. Now listen, I do streams. I'll call somebody out. I got a platform. I'll do a video on them if I don't like something that they've done. But I don't want to call for somebody's career to be ended or stream to be over or channel to be taken down. I can get into a whole another one of that shit too. But you know what I mean? Grow the hell up.
Makes you wonder why there's even a lawyer present then. In fact, I do have to give props to Dave in this one instance for raising that very question.
If there hasn't been a legal issue, why are you here? She can't, there's nothing going on. She could theoretically answer for herself.
Because obviously there have been allegations made after so long of just going back and forth online, and it's all just social media talking back and forth. It was time to actually bring in some professionals who are going to talk about what's really real.
It got a weird response. It's not like she knows the situation any better than, say, Jack would. So I'm not sure why she's even giving herself so much credibility when there isn't a legal proceeding happening. To me, it just feels like an intimidation tactic. And as she said, she does feel like it'll quiet people down.
Do you think you bringing in the lawyer team and everything, do you think that's going to bring more attention to the situation, or do you think that's to kind of quiet people down? Or it's going to quiet people down?
I think it is going to quiet people down because it's just I literally have my lawyer sitting right here next to me telling you guys and whoever's going to see this now that there's nothing being done. I just kind of
yeah, okay, nothing being done.
All right, I'm gonna let my team just talk about this one and kind of take this one.
If that's the same team that told you to do the interpretive dance, I'm thinking you should probably be worried. Something interesting I noticed is when Sienna said this.
What was your initial reaction to Jack? Did you reach out to him? What did you say? What was that conversation? There was nothing?
So I haven't talked to him in literally since our last trip to Hawaii together. The last time I literally saw him was before I got on my flight, and we haven't talked since.
I cannot imagine why Sienna would not personally or privately reach out to Jack after the initial claims came out, even before.
Do you not remember earlier I made a point to pause it and say about how remember how many times she tried to claim that she tried to take all this private, make all this private, that she was trying to handle all this behind the scenes, to keep all this private. Now she's just sit there and said she's not even trying to reach out to the guy. Oh, good Lord, help us.
For his statement, when it was just his friends making the claims, what could possibly compel Sienna, if she were truly innocent, to not reach out to Jack behind closed doors in an attempt to figure out what's going on? None of that makes sense to me. Sienna then goes on to weirdly admit that she had hopes of marrying Jack. When the two had never even gotten to the point of dating, he made it clear he did not want to be with her, and she still persisted, according to what's been claimed.
I really, really loved him, and I was I'm gonna get married to this guy, this is the one. I was so stoked on him. He was loving making the content because of the views that it would get, and it would get a ton of views on my accounts too. I think we both kind of saw that as a business transaction. I was personally, between us, super into it, and he knew that I was, and I think he also knew that he wasn't. And that's where things got messy.
Did you realize he wasn't into it and you were still pursuing it, or you didn't realize?
We would kiss. Also, I just want to reiterate, we never had sex. We literally never did anything other than kiss.
Sienna likes to emphasize that the two had never had sex, as if this was ever something Jack claimed, and I'm surprised Sienna keeps harping on it, even with her lawyer sitting right next to her. She absolutely cannot, for some reason, answer Dave's question of, well, did you know he wasn't
into it? And you're still pursuing it?
Instead, all of her answers are keeping the best interests of Sienna in mind, and how she was misled the entire time. Even though from what she's describing, it doesn't sound to me like he had any intentions of pursuing a relationship outside of the romantic TikToks.
It was interesting. My initial reaction when I saw his long videos, how cut up it was. It was like a jump cut every 2 seconds. But Bree brings up a good point. Why?
Why would he be posting 17-minute YouTube videos, bawling his eyes out on the internet if there was no truth behind what he was saying?
Look,
correct.
Here's the thing. I'm going to jump in again. Here's the thing. we can't speculate as to why he did it or what he thought of. We can't speculate. But, you know, to Bree's point, they're nothing but statements. They're just statements.
After not knowing why Jack would cry in front of 20 million people in order to falsely slander Sienna's name, we reach the climax of the interview, where Sienna's forensic specialist breaks down the infamous video and analyzes it, basically writing everything off as too short to count as evidence in a court of law.
The National Center for Audio and Video Forensics was retained to perform an analysis on a cell phone video posted to social media. I was asked if the video can be used as credible evidence of the accusations against Ms. Gomez. In short, no. The posted video is not credible evidence of these accusations. The video is not original. The video has been heavily altered. The video provides no context to the events. The video is not credible evidence of the accusations against Ms. Gomez.
I feel like that was a bad CSI video. I mean, my instinct is people are going to be like, that's a guilty video. It felt like a bad movie.
Actually very funny, they shred this video in front of the guy who made it, but I have to say it's hard to deny the video is short and doesn't show the events leading up to and after what is taking place, an alleged assault. But this weird Fiverr looking edit isn't exactly helping her image, going on to accuse someone out there, maybe even Jack, of botting her, in addition to really emphasizing how much hate she's been getting online since these allegations broke, with absolutely no care for Jack or the same horrible messages I have to assume he's been getting from her fans.
It's something though that we've actually become kind of used to and we kind of shrug off. Like, of course there's botting going on. But I do want to make the point, it's illegal.
Are you insinuating that Jack did it? The botting?
Good question.
Yeah, we don't know who did it yet.
I have to say the one thing Sienna may actually be good at is digging her grave even deeper, because throughout this entire video, she comes across as nothing but inauthentic and unnecessarily intimidating. It just isn't a good look. And even if we're going by the court of public opinion, one glance at the comment section would seem to indicate a loss on that front too.
He says, the last thing I would ever want to do is breach someone's boundaries, and for that I have become explicitly aware of the way I interact with others and will do better. I think she'll be more cautious going into the future because of this, but I still don't think she understands. Because someone talked to you about their boundaries, and you continued to break them. So it's not like boundaries had to come to your attention, like you knew.
Well, and I, unfortunately, and this is just my opinion, okay, and you know, I've been fortunate enough to live in a few different places in my life, and that's a whole nother video in itself too. But in my opinion, I believe it also has a lot to do with how this younger generation has been raised. You know, not really being held accountable, not facing that many consequences, you know, allowed to talk to their parents however the hell they want to talk to them, throw hissy fits if they don't get their way. Like, you know, and I understand, listen, I do understand that, you know, like I'll say, like say, you know, my grandmother on my mother's side, dirt poor. Okay, this woman had 9 children and tried to raise them in a 2-bedroom house with a wooden fireplace. Okay, a wood stove. She had to get up every morning, my grandmother, and throw wood in a fire. And again, imagine trying to raise 9 kids in a 2-bedroom house because she's poor. And so with my parents, well, my mother, you know, and then all her siblings, like when they, you know, got old enough and got jobs and, you know, started doing pretty well for themselves, you know, they were workers. They worked hard. Mother worked really hard. And then my dad was a hard worker. My dad came from nothing. He was making $3 a week, you know, delivering newspapers, trying to help his mother who was making $12 a week, putting together baseballs. And so, yeah, I'm saying poor. Okay, I live in what's considered the Appalachians. Okay, so when people like, that's another thing and a whole nother damn story. So when like people say, I've heard people say like, oh, like white privilege, shit like that, makes my skin crawl. Everybody from where I was raised, the majority of the people that I saw in my life, it didn't matter what color your skin was. Everybody was poor. Okay, we wore yard sale clothes. It was nothing for a shirt to cost 50 cents and you'd go to school. That's what you went to school in. So like when I hear people say that shit, it really pisses me off because I would love to anybody to go to my dad and tell my father, like whenever he was trying to deliver papers so they could keep a roof over their head, that he was somehow privileged. Okay, that same newspaper organization accused him of stealing from them, and it took a couple weeks later, whatever, when the actual thief was exposed. You think they issued my dad an apology? My dad was like freaking 10 years old. So yeah, again, that's what people need to get out of their damn houses, drive down the road, cross the state fucking line, and then maybe you can look around you and realize that not everybody is living in Chicago or LA or New York. Where I lived, we didn't care. Everybody was poor. You know, I mean, we'd feed the neighbor. We didn't give a shit what they looked like if we had food. You know, like right now I have a cousin that's running a food bank in the next city over. He does not check their race card when they come in the door and need food. But I do think it has a lot to do with these people were poor, like my parents' age. And then whenever they had children, they were like, oh, I'm not going to let my child suffer. You know, they knew what it meant to not have or be worried whether or not they were going to be able to feed their kids, put food on the table. So when that generation grew up and was able to provide more and more for their kids, they got spoiled, rotten little damn brats that that then had children themselves, spoiled those damn kids. And so now we have a generation of young people like this girl that walks around acting like her shit don't stink. And, you know, and is used to getting her way and don't understand what consequences mean for your actions. What do you mean I'm canceled because I lied? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Again, and when I hear people talk in this country about, oh, I didn't get this and this, it's like, for the love of God, take your head out of your hole and look over at another country where they're literally eating bugs. You know, have their children scraping through the trash to try and find something they can go recycle so they can get a loaf of bread. You don't know what it means to struggle. In this country, we have things like food stamps and all this other shit. We have church organizations that'll help people. Go look what's happening to the children in Yemen right now. Children are starving to death. Oh, sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. You know what I mean? People need to be held responsible for their actions, and maybe wouldn't have so many people, you know, trying to get away with lying to everyone all the time. Call them out on their bullshit.
You just didn't do anything about it.
Sienna's responses throughout this entire situation have not been helping her at all. In my mind, everything she's tried to do here has backfired. The fact of the matter is, there are two conflicting narratives. One is that Sienna has been falsely accused of assault by a man who manipulated and led her on by intentionally giving her mixed signals, only to maliciously launch an attack on her reputation in the end, or that Sienna is not the person she claims so adamantly to be online, that her issues with boundaries far surpass the smaller extent to which she's described so fleetingly in interviews, that she repeatedly chose to take advantage of Jack Wright when he was at his most vulnerable, keeping him at arm's length no matter where they went due to her bizarre, ignorant, and selfish infatuation with a boy who clearly didn't reciprocate feelings. I personally believe the latter. After everything Jack has said and personally testified against, it's hard for me to look at this video as anything other than the truth, even if saying that could get me crucified by Sienna's legal team. However, the one truth that remains absolutely undisputed is that Sienna May has dug her own grave. Whether it be with weak video responses or a complete interpretive dance to the lyrics "I'm young and did nothing wrong," it doesn't matter how young and inexperienced Sienna was. When she goes to such extreme...
See what I mean by the excuse of that, like these 20-year-olds are like, you know, I was young. Well, you know, I was young. It's not an excuse to treat somebody like a piece of shit. It's not okay to climb up on anyone that doesn't have their eyes open and is aware of what they're doing. I don't give a shit how old you are. This is not an excuse to essay somebody. Well, I was young. I had no idea that, you know, that there was some consciousness required for consent. I had no clue. Are you effing kidding me? But I guarantee you, if the same shit had happened to her, there would be no excuses the other person could give that would make it okay.
Links to keep Jack and her critics at bay, as to not damage the precious reputation she's built on a mountain of lies and sick dance moves.
But lies and a bunch of horse shit. Maybe she need to take some lessons in the dumping of the bed. But anyway, so listen, I think that this was important to kind of highlight. I'm going to do a couple more of these because listen, there's some lunatics out there. And I think the more that we highlight that this happens to men, the more that maybe, especially during this trial, and men will feel like they're more and more comfortable to come out and have a voice, right? There's a lot of stuff that could be covered in this. And again, I'm grateful that people are aware. And again, I'll say it's so encouraging to see all kinds of people, all walks of life coming out and acknowledging the discrepancies with this woman's testimony, the things that she has said versus the evidence that we've witnessed ourselves or heard with our own 2 ears. And all these people, everybody's so sick of arguing. Everybody is so sick of being told you got to hate this person and they need to hate that person and then blah blah blah. Like I'll be just raw here at the end. I'll be honest with you at the end. Okay, I live in a very red state. I live in Tennessee. Okay, would be more like say I guess I'm liberal on a lot of things, but I have some right leaning tendencies like with security stuff like that. I have people in my family in the military. Listen, it doesn't matter. I'm saying that to say that when Depp came out and said what he said about the last president, it pissed a lot of people off because he was a famous guy and here we got another guy getting their head in politics and all that other shit. But what it taught me was a valuable lesson of he has the right to have his own opinion. People cannot like whoever's in office, right? They might not like your neighbor, your mayor, and then you might like your mayor. Okay, I'll just because that's easier to say. Say I like my mayor, my friend sitting next to me doesn't like my mayor. That's okay. You don't have to agree on everything. That doesn't make them a bad person. And it's like what I've seen happen in society is like the pitting and 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 the. Well, did you see that they were standing next to this person and got a picture with so and so and so? That must mean they're evil. Like what? What have we ground ourselves down to? Sand at this point? Are we that fragile that that people don't understand that we're not? You can be friends with someone you don't agree with everything about. They maybe have different views than you, and that's okay. It doesn't mean they deserve to be shit on or lied about or have their careers ruined. Have an op-ed wrote about them that there's something that they're not. Like I feel like after everything that's happened over these last few years, we're all damn exhausted of trying to hate everybody else. Just. And now when it, I don't know, I could do a whole other thing on that. But anyway, okay, I hope that you found this interesting. I'm going to, again, like I said, I'm going to do a couple more. I'm also going to do another video of people's reactions to this trial. I found a couple more that are pretty funny and pretty good. And yeah, so guys, have a good one. All right. And I will see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, do all that crap. All right. See you later.